Hi everyone, this is Dina. I'm the Nightly Stitcher. You can find me here and also on Instagram if you want to follow me there under the Nightly Stitcher. This is Flosstube number 13. It's September 13th, 2022. This last video I couldn't decide whether it was 11 or 12, and I bounced back and forth and had to change some things. So yes, this is Flosstube number 13. So welcome everyone. Thank you for coming back and following me. And also if you're new, I hope you enjoy what you see. I have cross stitch to show you today, quite a little bit. And so I hope you enjoy watching. This is Tanner. I thought I'd introduce you to another one of our poms. We have 5 total. And Tanner is the dad of Hannah, who was on our last video. And then Teddy, who has not been a star yet. So Tanner had to go to the vet yesterday. He's 11 years old, but he had to go to the vet yesterday. He has upper respiratory infection, so he had to get some medicine. But he's got a cough, so if you hear anybody coughing, it's going to be him. He's got some medicine for it and an antibiotic, so hopefully he won't get to coughing real hard like we've had to deal with over the weekend. I don't know why, but your dogs or your pets always seem to get sick over the weekends, it seems, or it is for us. So we tend to have Monday appointments. So, but anyway, Dad is, like I said, 11 years old, and we have Hannah and Teddy. We had the mom who was Emmy. We lost her a few years ago. Teddy and Hannah were both born on New Year's Day, so they are New Year's babies. They were born about 2 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. So, and I think they're 8 or 9 now. So anyway, he's a pretty quiet little boy. He just chills all the time. He's started to lose his hearing, so we're trying to learn hand signals on coming into the house and things like that. But he's a good boy. So, all right, let's get on with the show. Put him down. Today I put the birds in the bathroom because last time they were very distracting. I know a lot of people said they didn't mind them at all, and I had one or two that said they were very distracting, and they were. I mean, there was some of it wasn't so loud, but other times they were just way too loud. So they are shut away in the bathroom right now. So, and then hopefully I've tried to record this 3 times, and Hannah has been on the back of the couch barking out the window. Then it's finally cooled off here to where we can open some windows and doors, and so she's been going out on the back porch and barking because the neighbors, hold up, I got another one that's wanting up here. Our neighbors are getting a new roof, so she hears them talking and hammering, and so she ran out there barking off the back of the couch. So I had to pull the blind, and of course Tootie has to be the center of attention, don't you? So hopefully Hannah will not be barking so much now. So yeah, welcome everyone. I hope you have been enjoying my videos. I enjoy making them. They're a lot of time consuming, pulling everything together and then recording, and then you're lucky if you get it done on the first try, and then putting it all away. But it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing it. So I try to do them about every 2 weeks. If you're new here, I try to get them in about every 2 weeks. So I don't have a lot, but I have variety today. So I just thought I would kind of catch up a little bit on what's been going on the last couple of weeks, which is usually not very much because I don't really get out and go all that much. I really enjoy staying in the house, or not necessarily staying in the house, but staying home, spending time outside on our porch. We have a screened-in porch because the mosquitoes love me. So when we bought this house, okay, you have to get down. When we bought this house, we had so many, I mean, we didn't know what the problem was and still don't. We spray for mosquitoes and we fog, but it seems like we're only across town from our old house, and we had them over there too, and they were bad, but over here the mosquitoes have been so bad, and we spray and fog and just still fight them all the time. So shortly after we moved in, it was obvious I couldn't go outside. I can't go outside and do much of anything, even in the middle of the day, because the mosquitoes are always wanting to bite me. So we put on a screened-in porch, and we took the deck off and built a whole new thing. And we really like it. We get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I can sit out there and read or stitch or whatever. We have our coffee out there every morning, but last 2 mornings it's been like 59 or 55, and it's like, I think I have my coffee in the living room today. So we've been doing that. So anyway, let's see. Steve had cataract surgery last Friday. He's doing pretty good. He was a little worried at first because it was pretty cloudy still, even after he got the surgery, and so many people had said that, almost immediately after you have a cataract surgery, you can see clear, and his was not like that. He had it on Friday morning, and Saturday and Sunday, he was really kind of worried about it, and then yesterday he had an appointment with the eye doctor, and when he got up yesterday morning, it was a lot clearer. So the doctor said it was doing fine. There was a little inflammation around it, but he said it was doing fine. And some people are just a little slower about healing and getting rid of that kind of fog that he was still seeing. So they're going to do his other eye sometime next month. He's not sure when yet. So I have poison ivy a second time this year. I was out pulling weeds in our flower bed. I've pulled weeds in these flower beds since we've been here, and will be 6 years in October. And I've never had poison ivy by pulling weeds in our flower bed. And our neighbors next door was talking, and they said, "Oh, we've just got so much poison ivy. We've been spraying and pulling," and this was last summer. And I said, "Really?" Because I never see any poison ivy. I've never had it since we've been here, and I don't ever see it growing around in my flower beds. So shortly after that, I started seeing poison ivy in my flower bed. So I usually am very careful about pulling it and getting rid of it. But twice this year now I've had poison ivy. I had just a light case of it earlier this year, and the other day it had rained quite a bit, and I like to pull the weeds out of there after it's rained pretty good because they're a lot easier to pull. So I was out there just ripping weeds like crazy, and I have poison ivy all down along here, under my chin, over here, on my arms, on my stomach. I don't know how it's, I just am a mess. It itches, and I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and I keep trying different things. I've tried, I was using Caladrill, I think it is, the clear, kind of like calamine lotion, only it's clear. I've been using that. I switched over and was using tea tree oil yesterday because I had read where that was supposed to be good. And so I don't know. I'm back on the Caladrill again today, so I think it may be clearing up. I don't know. I just get these random spots that pop up, so I don't know. So who knows? It'll go away though. I got on the StitchCon wait list. I am so excited. The day that registration opened up to get on the wait list, it opened up on, is it Wednesday? I think it was, at noon Eastern time, which was going to be 11 o'clock our time. We're Central Time Zone. And my husband we had a meeting at the bank, and so we went to Columbia, but we had this meeting at the bank, and we were going to be over there when registration opened up. So I thought, oh boy, I knew if I didn't get on it, I probably, quick, I probably wouldn't get on it. But I was on there and registered and done by 11:02. So I did get on the wait list. So hopefully I'll be able to go to StitchCon this next year, and it'll be my first one. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So let's see. I think I've got whips today. The whips and the starts are the same thing. I don't have, let me go back up because I have my floss tubers I don't want to leave out. I watched quite a bit of Flosstube this week. I watched Alba Stitcher and 2 Needles Pulling Thread. I watched the Sunshine Stitchers and Stitching with Mel. Finally, a Farm Girl, and Mama Loves You GB. So those were the floss tubes that I watched this last couple of weeks. I have, like I said, I've got whips, but the whips and the starts are the same thing. I am participating in Sampler September, so that's what I'm working on. I have 1 finish, and I have 2 FFOs. I have not had an FFO since I started my floss tube. So the other day I was upstairs and I've been making project bags, and then I thought I have got to get some of my fall and Christmas stuff finished. So I pulled out a couple of things and I worked on them. And I don't know, I don't like to fully finish, but I think the problem is because I have, well, I just can't decide what I want to do. I'll stand there and I'll look at it and try to think about it, and then I start dragging stuff out, and then before I start cutting stuff up, it's like, well, what if I don't like this? Maybe I need to do it this way and do something different. So it takes me a good while to decide what I even want to do with it, and then, you got to drag everything out and make a huge mess, and then you got to put it all up. But I am super pleased with my finishes that I have on these 2. They're both Halloween finishes. So I have that. I have did I say I have 1 finish? Just two FFOs and 1 finished cross stitch piece. So, and a little bit of haul, a little bit of antiquing haul. And then I had so many people when I mentioned that I stitch watching a vertical thread when I'm stitching over 2 threads on linen or an even weave. They wanted to see how I did it. And I did this homemade setup, so I'm not sure how. It's definitely not a professional, not going to be a professional teaching piece, but hopefully it's good enough that you can see it and understand what I'm talking about. And if you stitch 1 thread over 1 thread, there is a way that you can stitch without having that thread slip underneath. So I'll show you that. But we're going to do that in the end for people that are not interested in doing that. I also have the last of my bee charts, which is going to be like Barrack Samplers, the Blue Flower. I'm not sure what else, but anyway, I had 3 containers of bees, and this is the last of the bees. So, all right, let's get going on this. I have on my whips, like I said, they're going to be starts and whips both. And let me get the chart out and show you. This is Pink Sparrow Sampler by Burns Gervais. And I had really been wanting to start this. I was slow about purchasing it, and then I kept seeing it finished up or stitched up, and so I decided I'm just going to go ahead and get going on it. So this is where I'm at. I can never hold this stuff so it looks good. So I've gotten all that done. These are the colors that are in it. So I think they're really pretty. This is, I think this must be a 32 count. I'd say it's a 32. I don't think they're big enough for a 28. So I'm pretty sure this is a 32 count. And this is just fabric that I had in my stash. I'm not sure what it is. So sorry about that. So many of them I'm gonna run across when I'm telling you that I don't know what the colors or what the fabrics are. So the next one that I've been working on is, and I started it, oops, wait a minute, on my chart. This is Lucy Calcutt, and I think she's really pretty chart. It's a fairly good size one too. It's, what is the stitch count? 273 by 393. So yeah, she's pretty good size. So I started her and gotten a pretty decent amount. I've only stitched on her a couple of nights. And this is what I have done so far. But I think the border is really pretty. This was fabric that I had, and I dyed it in tea the other day. And then after I got it completely done, dried and everything, I thought, why did I not video that so I could show you the video of how I dye with tea? So I'm gonna have to do that again. So these are suspender clips that I made. I think I'm gonna make some and put them in my Etsy shop. If anybody is interested, you know, comment below and I'll see. If nobody's really too interested in suspender clips for holding your fabric tight on the side, this one was kind of close, so I really didn't get to pull it too tight, but I'm gonna pull a little bit more. But anyway, I'm thinking about making some and putting them in my Etsy shop. So anyway, that's Lucy Calcutt. I think that border is so pretty. And then here are had so many colors, I had to have 2 rings. These are all the colors, and they're just DMC. And this is 36 count linen, is what it's stitched on. Those are the only 2 things. Oops, that's gonna crash on me. It's gonna slide. Hang on a minute. So, that's the only 2 things that I've been stitching on. The day Steve had his cataract surgery, we are in the medium to high range. Just a second. Our area is in the medium to high range on COVID again. So it was a little bit weird because when we went in, I could go in and sit with him in the waiting room until they called him back to do his surgery. But once he went back to have the surgery done, I had to go sit in the car, which was, I thought, why would they let you sit in a waiting room for a half an hour around other people? But then you couldn't stay in there, and they even had another waiting room too. So I don't know how that happened, or why they're like that, but that's okay. But anyway, I was gonna go just sit in the car. It wasn't gonna take but a couple, 3 hours. So I grabbed a little sampler that I was gonna stitch on, and I had showed this before. It was a little, supposed to be a Christmas card on perforated paper, but I decided I was just gonna do it on linen, and it came with floss, so I was gonna do that. And I had a little to-go bag. Tiffany from Stitching with the Twins had made me a small little bag, and it's just the perfect size for a little pair of scissors and a notepad and a pencil or highlighter and your whatever, scissors, all that stuff. And I have a little, I'd seen somebody else do it, it's a little mint tin that you just stick a magnet in there because the magnet sticks to the metal tin, and then you put your needles in there. And I had that in there. So I get out in the car and I get all my stuff out, And like I said, I used that little bag that Tiffany sent me with all my stuff in it. So I get ready to pull my needle out, open the tin, and I had no needle. So couldn't very well stitch without a needle. So this is how far I got on that. This is my starting point. That's all I had. That's as close to a needle as I got was my counting pin. So I sat in the car for, I think it ended up being about 2.5 hours maybe. I sat out there and watched YouTube videos instead. So I watched Flosstube. So that is all I have on whips. I guess I'll start my little Christmas piece some other time, probably in the next few days. My finish that I had, I got this done. This was what I worked on first, and I got a finish on it. This is by Historical Sampler Company, and I have finished the autumn, and now I have the spring. There are 4 of them each season. They come in a kit, and I bought them probably 20 years ago, if not more. I just had to finish the bottom portion pretty much. I had to finish this border across here. I had to put this urn in, or I guess it's an urn. I'm not real sure what you would call that. I had to come up here and put my name and the year in because I did that wrong and put HS and 05. It was on the pattern, and so I ripped it out and redid it. I had a lot of thread left. I've had that on both of those, so they're really good about giving you a lot of thread in their kits. I use down to the nub anyway. I just am not one that, I'm always afraid, especially with something like this, I'm always afraid I'll run out. So I had a lot of thread left, so I just left it on the card because I thought, well, if I have something small that I want to do, I could pull that and all the colors kind of coordinate. So let me lay that over there. This is going to go fairly fast because I just don't have all that much. I have this piece that I don't know which to show first because they're both so cute. They're both my favorites. So I had Wicked Witch by Lottie Da. My daughter had given me for Christmas. That's probably been 2 or 3 years ago. And I had got the stitching done earlier this year. And this is how I finished it. And I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see it. So this is a broom. I found the broom at Goodwill the other day. I wanted something that looked like a witch broom. Let me turn it this way so you can see it all, at least at one time. So anyway, I found the broom like for $3 and something at Goodwill. They have the Goodwill that we go to, and I think they're probably all kind of like that. I don't know whether they buy out off-season or something, but they have a lot of new stuff. Well, they had a whole bunch of these brooms, and kind of wish I'd bought another one. But anyway, I pinned this onto foam core board, and then I glued it on the back and then took the pins out because I didn't want the pins showing in the side. So I did that. I wanted a very close border here so I could show more of the fabric. I just happen to have this fabric, which you can't see a lot of it, but it's witches' brooms, hats, and witches' shoes. So I thought that was appropriate for the Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. So I didn't do anything to the back, left it like that. I didn't figure it really made that much difference. It's going to be hanging against something. So that is Wicked Witch by Lottie Da. And it was stitched on looks like a 32 count. And it's done with needlepoint silk. My daughter gave me the pattern and the silk for Christmas that year. I just, this is just a fabric covered button. I didn't cover it. I have a bunch of odd and end stuff up in my button collection, and it was in there. I don't know whether it came off of a coat or what, but it's fabric covered. And then I just made 2 bows and glued one on top of the other. So that is my Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. Now this might be my favorite. This is by Luminous Fiber Arts, and it's, excuse me, it's Boohoo. And I started out, I was going to make 2 pillows out of it, and then as I had everything laying out on the table, it's like, I think I'll do flat folds. Look at this, 'Tis the Season, isn't it? I love that movie. I hear sirens. So anyway, I had this out and I was going to do 2 separate pillows, and then I kept looking at it and it's like, well, I think I'll do a flat fold. They're easier to store, and kind of back and forth. Well, I decided I would do this. I put them both in one pillow, and so I just love this little piece. I think it turned out super cute. The cats, let me show you the back of it. This is the back. So it's cats, and it's kind of hard to see, but those are skulls. I don't know. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there you can see it. It's 2 cats and a skull. I couldn't figure out what that was for a long time. So this was stitched on, looks like 18 count Aida that I dyed, and I think I just tea-dyed it. I put this in the middle. I think it's 1.5 inches. I did 1.5 inches border on all 3 sides here. I offset the bottom by 1/2 inch. It's actually 2 inches because, you know, usually when it's setting down, you lose some of that. And I didn't want the cross stitch to be too far down. So I did that. And this trim I found over at Hobby Lobby. I have to think a minute. I just used DMC floss. I didn't use the overdyed. Misty and her model pieces had used overdyed floss, and I don't remember if it was Weeks Dye Works or Gentle Art or what, but I ended up just using the regular DMC, and I'm very pleased with it. If you're interested in this yarn, it's by Yarn Bee, and it's called Simply Sherpa. And I got black because I wasn't sure if I was going to use the black. And I also got this color because it's coming out a little brighter on camera than it really is. But I couldn't, you know, at the time, I didn't know what fabric I was going to be using, but it really didn't go with the fabric. So I just found the fabric after I bought the yarn, or decided on fabric. I already had it in my stash. So I thought with so much orange in the pillow, the black trim was going to be the best for it. So yeah, that is one of my favorite pieces now. I love Halloween. And I just used Aleene's tacky glue and glue it on. I'm not too particular with it. I mean, I always try to be really neat. It dries clear, it's acid free. And I try to be really careful so that it doesn't get someplace it's not supposed to be. But, you know, I'm never going to change this, so I didn't need to sew it on. I just glue it, and it's going to be fine. I'm going to store it away in a box, and it'll be just fine. So that is all I have, other than a little bit of haul. I have, I got this in the mail since my last video, the Christmas ornaments. There's some cute ones in here, so I'm not going to flip through, but I think Santa's apron is really cute. And let's see, I should take that off. I thought Santa's apron was really cute though, but yeah, I got that. And then yesterday I got my Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, and there's some really cute ones in here on it. I think that is really cute. I don't do punch needle, but there's enough cross stitch in here that it really is worth buying the magazine just for the cross stitch. I ordered 2 needle minders from Mad for Minders. I ordered a Squirrel, because Squirrel, you know, and Betsy Ross. And I think this is paper that is applied to wood, and I think I'm going to coat it with Mod Podge, because the very corner of his ear is like a piece of paper that's trying to come up. So I think I'm going to try to put just a thin layer of Mod Podge over these to seal the surface. So anyway, I got those. And let's see, we went antiquing, and I found a flower frog that will go in my big bowl of flower frogs. I found these little wooden bowls. I got 3 of them, and they're from Pampered Chef. I had not seen them before, but I thought they're pretty cute. Wooden, have a pretty pattern in them. So they're turned on a lathe. And then my husband brought me this in yesterday. He was going through a unit and found this little cross stitch piece. This is a Told in the Garden piece. It says Boys in Berries, like boysenberries, but this is Boys in Berries. So the frame is real wobbly. You can see there's a nail that's coming out up here. He just brought it to me yesterday afternoon, so I'm going to re-glue the frame and paint it, put it back in there, just put it in my sewing room. But they didn't do anything with it. They just put it in there and cut the fabric off. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing, which will be fine. So I think that's, oh, no, it's right here. Okay, this is a Future FFO. My daughter stitched this years ago, and I pulled out everything the other day that was either fall, Halloween, or Christmas, so I could get started doing some finishing. But she had done this years ago, and I hadn't done anything with it. And I'm not sure who this is by. For some reason, I'm kind of thinking just Nan, but I might be wrong. It has a witch charm right in the middle. And it's somewhat of a circle, and I kind of wanted to frame it that way. And we were over to Hobby Lobby, and I found these the other day, and they're from their unfinished wood section. There's 3 of these. I guess you'd call them a tray. They're narrow, but there's 3 different sizes. Let's see. I don't even say it. Just says wood round tray S/3. There's a 13-inch, a 14-inch, and a 15.3 inch. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna paint the outside of the tray. This will fit in the smallest tray. So I think I'm gonna paint the tray, and then I'm gonna apply fabric inside this. And then I'm going to fix this around a round piece of board, and then put it on the inside as a circle, and then probably do some kind of trim inside there. So that's just an idea I had that I thought I might go ahead and show you, since I didn't have a whole lot. I have to show you this. It just came to me. When I was stitching on this, I was stitching really hard. I was wanting to get this finished, because this was one that wasn't too far from being done when I started Sampler September. So I was sitting out on our back porch, and I was just stitching away, and it's a little awkward where I have to sit and hold stuff and all, but I had my highlighter, nice bright neon blue, like my fingernails, highlighter. And I don't know what I did. I had my lap stand in my lap, and I went to lay something over to the side. I don't remember exactly, but when I come back across, right on the side of this, I got a nice bright neon blue highlighter line, and I'm just panicked. I jumped up, I come in here, I didn't even take it off my stand. I got to the kitchen sink, and I started running water over it. because it's just regular floss. So I started running water over it and just kept running it over it, and I could see it was starting to fade out a little bit. So I ended up, at that point I knew I thought I could get it out. So I took it off of my lap stand and put the tiniest little dab of Dawn dish soap on it, and I didn't rub it or anything. I just put the dab of dish soap right on that line and just kept running it under the water, and it kept getting lighter and lighter, and I did it again, and finally I got every bit of that highlighter out. I thought if nothing else the pigment, the dye pigment itself would stay in there, but it didn't. I got it out. I was really lucky, and I have never done that, except for the one time I spilled a whole glass of tea on my sampler, which I guess wouldn't be bad because you could just make do with that. But yeah, that's the only 2 times I've ever had an accident with my needlework. So let me look at my list here. I think I've just about got it all done. Yep, that's it for, I don't know. I think since it's going to take so long to go through patterns, that I'm going to quickly show you how I stitch over 2 threads by watching the vertical thread on an even weave or linen. So I'm going to scoot you up here, and this is another one of these homemade deals that I did. This is my needle. I wrecked my brain trying to think of how I could do this without being on actual linen. I didn't want to show you on actual linen. Let me back this up for a minute. I didn't want to show you on actual even weave or linen because of it being so small. I wanted a big, you know, a piece that's big enough that you can see it easily. So I just wasn't sure if this was going to work. It may not work, but if it does, good. And if it doesn't, I guess there's lots of videos on stitching over 1 thread on YouTube. I don't know if there's anything on stitching by watching the vertical thread, but there's lots of stitching over 2 threads or 1 thread on YouTube. So I'm just gonna put my 2 cents worth in on this. Let me kind of scoot around here. I'm gonna have to drop you down more. Okay. All right, so this is my little homemade piece of fabric. Isn't that pretty? It's all Christmassy. So as you can see, all the red threads are the horizontal threads, and all the green threads are the vertical threads. So you can see where the vertical thread is on top through here, and then I always start to, they say it anchors your floss better. I don't know about that, but when I stitch watching a vertical thread, I always come up. We're going to use this vertical thread right here. Okay, I come up to the lower left of that vertical thread, and you're going to come up 2 threads and over 2 threads and go down. And when you go back down, you can see you're going down to the lower left of another vertical thread. Now I make mine, it doesn't matter how you do it, I make mine, and I've already tried this. It doesn't look very pretty, but it's giving you the idea of it. It's not, but I come down. Did I do that? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm trying to do this by looking at it backwards. Okay, so I come straight down, and again, there's that vertical thread that I'm coming up from the back at the lower left of the vertical thread. So it's always the lower left of the vertical thread. Then I'm coming up 2 threads and over 2 threads. And there's my X, even though it's not very pretty. So where I went down is at the left of a vertical, lower left of the vertical thread. Now, when I stitch, like I said, I complete each cross stitch as I go. So I would come back down here to this one where I came up. And again, this is the lower left of the vertical thread. And I don't count 1, 2, 1, 2. I just kind of glance across and I can see where this vertical thread is. That's the next vertical thread. That's the next vertical. That's the next vertical. So that's how I watch the vertical threads. So I don't really pay any attention to these horizontal threads at all. So I just kind of look at it and I know I got to go down right there. And I'm going to come straight down for 2 threads, but again, I'm watching the vertical thread. Then I come back over to where I know it's where your stitch already was. So is that making sense to you? So then I'm going to come back down here to where I start my next stitch. I just look for the vertical thread. The vertical thread is right there, lower left, see, because we've stitched over this one, we've stitched over this one, now we're going to this one. There it is. Now if you, and this is going to look a little extreme, but if you glance up and you see a vertical thread and you go down, let me try to do this backwards. I'm having trouble from here. Okay, so I'm going to pick this vertical thread. It's actually one vertical thread up. You see, this is an extreme version, but still, even on linen or even weave, you're going to see that that just doesn't look right. So there's been times that I've done that. It's just like, I don't think I did that right. And I pull it out, and sure enough, I had, on a very small count of fabric, high count fabric, you know, like 36 or 40 or whatever, 32 even, I can miss see that, and I go in the wrong vertical thread. So it's obvious. But if I go in here, you can also see that's not right, because you're going in at the lower, you're going in right underneath that vertical or that horizontal thread. So you just always want to make sure it's the lower left of a vertical thread. There's your vertical thread, lower left. So I hope that makes sense to you. Now, if you're going to stitch over one, I'm just going to use, let me take this one back out. We're going to stitch over one thread and not have the thread go underneath. Now, it may on this, since this is just a little homemade thing here that I did, but I'm hoping not. So here's the vertical thread here. Now, you know, when you're stitching over one, it's not going to matter which way you stitch because, or start, because of the vertical thread. You're going to be stitching over this one by itself and then the horizontal by itself. So if you make your first stitch over one, and you follow the path of the thread that is behind this, the thread behind this stitch is a horizontal thread. So if I come over here on this horizontal thread and then go back down, that thread is not going underneath there. So now the next one you have to do different, and you can't always do it this way, but if you come up here, because you've got to have your stitches go in the same direction, go down here, the stitch that is, or the thread that's behind this stitch, as you can see, is a vertical thread. So we're going to go vertical and then down. And then that stitch does not get lost. And I know these stitches, they just don't look very good, but that's just because of the weave with the yarn and stuff. So again, the next thread, it's got to run up, you know, this direction. So you're going to have to come up over here and go back down over here. And then what's your thread on the back? It's going to be a horizontal thread. So we're going to go over here horizontally and then back up here. And that keeps that thread from slipping underneath. Because if we were to do it this way, let me show you another one. See if I can do it. See how that slips under? So if we go this way with it, because the thread here is horizontal, when we come over here, it keeps that thread from slipping underneath. So it's a little different. You have to think about it as you stitch, and you can't always do it that way, but most of the time you can, and then it keeps that thread from sliding under there and getting lost. But there are times that you have to do it the other way. I can't think of anything offhand, but it does happen. So again, like I said, you're going to come up over here. The stitch that's running underneath is horizontal. So when we come down, we're going to go horizontal and come back up. So that's it. That's all there is to it. If you have a question, you can message me and I'll try to explain it. I've tried to help some people in the last 2 weeks that mentioned that they were wanting to know how, and was a little confused when I explained it. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, somebody was walking by, and I didn't pull the shade over the couch. I just pulled the shade over the love seat. So now they're both pulled. So anyway, that's stitching over 2 threads, watching your vertical thread as you stitch. And then that way you never get off by a half of a stitch. I've done it in the past myself. You know, you're stitching on something and you get over to a point that you have to meet up, and you're either one thread showing, or which would be a half a stitch if you're stitching over 2. You're not getting up here. Or you have 3 stitches, so you know you're off. If you ever come up to the lower left of a horizontal thread, you're off somewhere. So that's why I like stitching with by watching the vertical thread. So anyway, I hope that helped. If it didn't, and you have some questions, just let me know. So at this point, I think we're done with everything except looking at some designer charts that I have. I have another box here. This is the last of the B's, and then we move on to the C's on the next video. We have looked at the A's, 2 boxes of B's, and then these. These are going to be the blue flower, in case you're interested in sticking around. Let's see, the blue flower, Kathy Barrick. Let me see what else I have. Birds of a Feather. That might be just about all of it. I think that's the 3. I think there's just 3 designers in here, but there's quite a few. So let me get a drink. And if you're not interested in staying for the charts, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel off today for some reason. You know how you have those days that you just just don't feel quite right. So anyway, I feel like I'm not very smooth with this today, so I do apologize, and hopefully I'll get my brain working next time. So anyway, if you're not going to stay and watch the chart parade, I appreciate you stopping by and watching. And I will hopefully see you next time. Okay, so to start out with, we're going to look at blue flower, and some of these are pretty new. She has some I want to buy, but I haven't picked them up yet. This is Acorns. I'm going to move you a little closer. Okay, this is Acorns. Appropriate for this time of year. This one I love, and I keep saying I'm going to start it, and I haven't. This is Night Walk Down. Night Walk Down the Sky with the moon in her hand. And I just think that is such a pretty piece. And then I have Summer Squirrel. I love the squirrels. Poor Tanner and his cough. I'm sure you're hearing him. I have Spring Squirrel. There, that's a little bit better. This is Autumn Squirrel. And then look at, I have to show you. You know, I always thought this was a skinny squirrel. He has a white belly. I didn't realize that till just now. So, yeah. I thought, gosh, he's so trim and fit. And all the others are little chubs. So, he's a chub too. You just couldn't see it. And then this is, what is this? Winter squirrel. We have 2 squirrels out in our backyard that are out there all the time. And we named them Gary and Darla. So we never know if it's Gary or Darla, but it's whoever we decide to call it. Halloween Squirrel. Every year I say I'm going to stitch these, and a year goes by and I don't. So this is Sleeping Bee. This one is, okay, that's my blue flower. So these are Barrick samplers. This is Hannah Ship. This is an older one. This is Katie Horn sampler, and I got her marked down. So this is Katie Horn sampler. Pause. I have to let the dogs out. Okay. The Willow Tree sampler. Barrick samplers. The Willow Tree sampler. And I bought these recently. They're not new, but I didn't have them. So this is a Miss Elizabeth Perkins. And it says Miss Elizabeth Perkins, milliner and dressmaker. 27 Main Street. Look at that skirt. The next one is Bird's Eye View. Her birds are so pretty. I love all of her bird patterns. This one is Miss Mary Hadley. It says Bird and Beekeeper, 44 Main Street. No, Market Street. Look at that skirt. This one is Good Intentions. Several people have stitched this one. It says, I myself am made entirely of flaws stitched together with good intentions. So that's really a pretty one. This one is an old one. This is Elizabeth Scholl, I would assume. Scholl or Scholl, 1832. That is a very, I'm trying to get it to where you can see the chart and the piece and the title both. But this is several years old. The next one is The Village. I don't think it's too old. Pretty. What's this say? The beauty, nature, wait a minute, I have to read. Okay, The Village. The beauty nature loves to share, the gift she has for all, the common light, the common air crept over the village wall. My work. This one is Dear Santa. Whoop. Dear Santa. It's a little older one. 2018. This one is 1797 Ship Sampler. Yep. I don't see a date on that one either. This one is Northern Exposure. The next one is A Pincushion for Thee. This one is Mary Pleasant Curry, 1809, done on black. I have to have a very good light when I stitch on black. And actually, I would prefer black Aida. There's nothing wrong with Aida. And I'd rather do black on Aida than black over a linen or an even weave. This is 10 Virgins. This one I think is pretty old. I think I bought this a long time ago. This one is Miss Lila's House, done on, it shows it on black and then also on an off-white, and how different they look. One's a smaller count, one's a larger count. This one is Jack's Urn. I keep saying I'm going to do this one, and I haven't started it either. I love Halloween. I could stitch everything Halloween. This one is Pieces of Old. This is a fairly new one, and it's so pretty. I've seen a lot of people that have stitched this, and the colors are so pretty in it. This is the Ocean Blue Stocking. I think that's really pretty. You got the squid and then the little mermaid down at the bottom, and then the little treasure chest down in the toe, and the anchor is the very last piece. So I think that's really cute. This one, everybody knows about this because there's a lot of people are stitching on this, Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. This was another, I must get this started that I haven't. You know, when I get all these out, I should just start throwing them to the side and work out of those piles of the ones I really, really want to stitch. This is the Farmer's Wife and a dog hair. The Farmer's Wife. And then again, it's stitched on light colored and on black. And now we're going to go to Birds of a Feather, which is super cute Halloween. This one is called Halloween Icons. There, a little bit better, not so glary. And then I think these are cute. This is called French Lessons. They just look like little kids' drawings. And then they have the word in French. Then I have Halloween Holiday. She's really cute. And then this one is called Peace. It says, "Peace be to this house and to all that dwell in it." Isn't that pretty? That house is really pretty. And then several people have stitched this one, Beware of the Cat. And then this one is Liberty. Got the little soldiers all lined up. This is Happy Heart Sampler. This one is All Hallows Night. I don't know if I can even read that. Boy, that's kind of hard to read around there. Come with us, All Hallows Night. Will frighten everyone in sight. Such scary pranks are justified, and fun and frolic amplified. Ooh, that is hard to read, those letters. I'd almost do those in a dark one, in one color that's dark. And then the last one I have is Winter Sampler, and this is also one that's really pretty. Just that little touch of red, the little red heart. Otherwise, it's all black and white. Okay, well, that is the end. We're at an hour, and that's what I like to try to keep it at. So I'm going to let you go now, and I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you get a lot of stitching done in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully I will be back by then with some more samplers that I've been stitching on, and hopefully some more fully finished pieces. I'd like to get a little bit more fully finishing done. And if you have any questions, like I said, just put them in the comments below, or you can message me and I'll try to answer them for you. And until then, I hope you all stay safe and well, and hope you get lots of stitching done. Bye.